Oh my gosh. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I just recorded that whole episode and I was just talking to my camera, talking to my microphone. I pressed the record button, but then you also have to press the little R over here, and I forgot. I did not press the R. Oh my gosh. I just talked for like 30 minutes and it wasn't recording. Oh, that is so sad, but hey, I probably wasn't saying the right thing that I need to say, so we're gonna try again. Okay. We just have to laugh so we don't cry. Let me make sure it's recording. Welcome back to Mom Talk, the podcast where we talk about everything that has to do with motherhood, the good, the bad, and the sad. And today's episode is the really sad because it just even, I couldn't freaking record it. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's jump in. Okay, this is part two of my Life Falling Apart series, and this is the dark day, the fall apart, the crash, the low part of the story. If you didn't listen last week, I talked about my husband's motorcycle accident, and that was part one where it just, the three parts. And so you can go listen to that. It's on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. But then today is part two. A week and a half after my husband's motorcycle accident, our entire main floor of our house flooded. And I'm not talking like a little water, like it covered my foot in water. And I completely lost it. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. And I'm going to be so honest and real about how I acted and how I broke apart and kind of how I had to pick myself back up and allow God to put me back together. And my hope is to shed light on how hard motherhood is, how life is just brutal sometimes, and that you can allow yourself a hard day, especially when you're a mom and the expectations get overwhelming and the life is hurting and heartbreaking, and you're the one that literally has to keep it all together. Man, you can give yourself a day to fall apart, and that's exactly what I did. So let's chat. I wake up about 7 a.m. I fell asleep in my toddler's bedroom, putting her down for the night. I'm cuddling her. She's like having a hard time not going to sleep. And so I'm laying by her. I fell asleep. So I didn't sleep in my bedroom downstairs. So I wake up, I come downstairs to get my baby a bottle because he's crying. And then I step down and there's water everywhere. My kitchen is completely covered in water, like probably, 4 or 5 inches deep. My carpet in my living room, there was water starting to go into it. And then down the hallway to my front door, down the other hallway to our guest bathroom and my bedroom, just completely flooded. And I had no idea what to do. I was like in shock that this was real. I'm like, this is not happening right now. So then I start yelling for my husband, Drake, our house flooded. Drake, where are you? The house is literally flooding. And I cannot find my husband. And then my baby's upstairs screaming because he's hungry. So I grab a bottle, go upstairs, I give him his bottle, and I get my phone and I have a text from my husband that says, "Hi," something along the lines of, "Hi, I'm so sorry this is going to be a terrible morning, but I have to go to school to take my test because this is the test makeup for the test he missed while he was having surgery after his motorcycle accident. So he had to go. And so he woke up at 5 to go study before the exam at 9. And he was so sweet trying to let me sleep in, but he let me sleep in. And he thought he fixed the problem because the fridge, we found out that's where the water was coming from. He found out that it turned off somehow. And so he turned it back on and thought that would fix the problem. Like he was like overwhelmed with his test. So he didn't clean anything up, but he thought, oh, I'll stop the water. Well, that was not the case. So when I woke up, I called my parents. They're freaking out. We're kind of a dramatic family, so we're all freaking out. Water's bad. Hurry. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I put my son down. He's freaking out, crying. I'm just losing it. I am just losing it. And so I pull my fridge out. So I have my microphone. So I pull my fridge out and I look behind and the water valve is like broken. So it's just spraying water everywhere. So I have to turn the knob, turn off the water, push my fridge back, and then I just am left with all this water. My dad's like, "You need to clean it up. Water is so bad." I'm like, "I understand." So I grab a bunch of towels, every towel in my house, I throw it down, just instantly soaks up. Like, oh my gosh, just it didn't do anything, didn't put a dent in any of it. So my parents look up this ServPro number and they're like, "Oh, call this, they're 24 hours." So I call them and they're like, "Yep, we'll be over in 30 minutes." Well, my husband also had texted our elders quorum group chat. It's like all the men in our neighborhood. He texted in that and was like, "Hey, I have to go take a test. My wife is home. Our house flooded. I don't know what's happening. Could somebody please go help her?" So I get all these calls and texts from people like, "Hey, how can we help?" And I just have no idea. I'm like, I have no idea. And then my neighbor Heather, I talked about her last time. She comes over. She's like, "I'm taking your kids. I'll go have them play at my house. You do what you need to." And her husband's like, "I have a shop vac. I'll come and vacuum it up." I'm like, "Great. Thank you so much." So he goes. And I just sit there and I cannot even tell you. This was probably one of the darkest days of my life. Like this and having a miscarriage, it was so terrible. I just, the depression that I instantly felt, like debilitating to the point where I'm like, I don't know what to do. I just sat in the flooded house and I just cried and I was just numb after that. And then I kind of lost hope on everything. I broke down completely. I was like, I have no idea how to fix this and my house is just like completely flooded and I don't know how to even fix this. And my husband is gone. And then my brain is telling me, he left you, he abandoned you, how dare he? So then I'm just spiraling out of control. Like, how dare my husband do this? And some context, after his accident, I just was feeling, I was in this not good headspace, first of all, because his mom came down and was helping, which she's amazing. I'm not saying any of this is her fault, just to clarify. But his mom came down and she's a nurse, and so she literally knew how to heal him, like help him heal after his motorcycle accident. And for some reason, my brain made that like so threatening and hurtful to me. Like, so I'm feeling like I am not good enough as a wife. I'm not good enough as a mom. I couldn't even take care of my husband. Like he doesn't want me to take care of him. He wants his mom to take care of him, not me. And I don't know how to help. And then my kids had the flu like a few days before this, so they're all throwing up. And she's, of course, a nurse, so she's helping. I'm like, so I'm in this negative headspace. I was like already slowly spiraling. And then when the flood, it was like the tip of the iceberg, and the floodgates opened and I just lost it. So that was kind of what was leading up my mindset to this. And I'm like, I can't do anything right and everything is falling apart. So why even try? I'm like, why put effort in if everything's just gonna fail? Which is so negative, and I usually try to be so positive, but this day, no, I fell apart. Okay. So I could get into the crazy details of everything, but you know what? I'm not going to go that deep because there's some things that even I am like, wow, I can't believe I did that or said that. But point is, I didn't want to be responsible for anything. I didn't want to be responsible for kids. I didn't want to be responsible for my marriage. I didn't want to be responsible of taking care of a house. I just was so overwhelmed and felt like I was trying so hard to do all of these things and then it just flooded anyway. So what was the point? And I just got completely numb. And my husband, I sent him so many crazy texts like, "You abandoned me. How could you leave me? I am so mad. Like, don't come home." Like, I'm like, "You chose to leave. You chose to leave me. You chose to leave this family. So don't ever come back." So insane. It's okay. I admit it. My brain was going a little crazy that day and I fully leaned into the crazy. And that's okay. Okay? Cuz here we are and we're still working. And the first step in moving forward is admitting that you were wrong. So, I was going crazy and just did not care at all. And my husband was like, okay, I'm coming home. I told him I'm not taking the test. I'm like, no, take the dang test. And he said, nope. He comes home. He's like, you clearly need me. And I shouldn't have left. And so he waited until the person came so he wasn't marked as like a no-show. And he told her, I can't go. I can't take the test. My house is flooding. And so he came home and I just lost it. I broke down and I was like, I don't want to do anything right now. And this day sucks. And Heather has our kids, and the best neighbor, she's the Relief Society president. It's like the president of the women of our congregation. She came over and she's like, I'm gonna box up your house. I'm gonna help you. I'm just gonna start moving stuff out. I'm like, thanks, just put it in the garage. And then all the men came over to help lift the couches because my husband's in a sling, so he literally cannot do anything. And I just gave in completely to the breakdown. I was like, yep, I cannot take care of my kids today. I cannot move my house, and I cannot process this right now. All I can do right now is break down. And I'm just going to go cry, and I'm going to be numb, and I'm going to be sad, and I'm just going to allow myself to break down. And maybe that's incorrect, and maybe some wise, smart therapist out there can correct me, but that's honestly my advice right now. If life gets too heavy, put it down. I'm not saying forever. I'm not saying go abandon all responsibilities. But if you need some time, and I gave myself a whole day. So if you need to give yourself a day or an hour or a week or a month, give yourself a time limit though. And after that, cap it off and pick up and move forward. Okay. So day one, I was done. I was emotionally not there for it. I had to check out. And I think that's okay because if I would have tried to keep going at that mental state that I was at, no good would have come. And I knew my kids were in good hands. I allowed people to step in and serve me on my worst day. I'm bawling. I'm in my freaking pajamas still. I'm having all my neighbors come and see me at the most vulnerable point in my life. And I didn't even care. I just accepted the help. And I'm so grateful that I did. And I'm so grateful to those people. And then the next day, I had to choose if I was going to go down this slippery slope of being depressed and sad and throwing a pity party for myself. That's literally what I did. I just felt sorry for myself that day. And poor me is so hard. And I needed it for that day. But then the next day, I capped it off and I said, okay, I choose to work through this trial with my husband. I choose to communicate with him and express how that hurt me and how to move forward together in the future. I chose to stay committed to him and he chose to stay committed to me, which I'm grateful for. And if you have somebody who loves you, they're going to let you kind of go down and then they're going to still love you. And so if you are at your breaking point, just remember this: your worth, your lovability, your divineness cannot change based off of your actions, based off of your mistakes, okay? You are still worthy of God's love, of people's love. You are still a good person, even if you make mistakes and blow up. And that took me a long time to accept that because I would have these huge emotional breakouts and blow ups, and then I would just be like, I'm worthless. Like, I can't believe that I let myself do that. And that's not true, okay? So if you're there, just know it's okay. Your actions do not define your worth as a child of God, okay? You can't let it you can't let it dictate your life though, okay? So I blew up and then the next day I chose to stay committed to my husband and he chose to stay committed to me even though I was so crazy the day before. And we chose to work on it. And we're still working towards better communication and better understanding and better unity. But that's what marriage is. And I chose to step up and be the mom that I wanted to be. I took my kids and I was trying my best. And then I also allowed help when I needed it. And I'll talk more about that next week. But I chose to keep being a mom, even though I'm like, this is so hard. But I still chose it because I chose it 3 years ago and I'm still choosing it today. And I chose ultimately to have faith that this was happening for a reason. And I could not tell you in that moment what that reason was, but I knew it was happening for some specific purpose because that's the God I believe in. And so I kept going and I kept having faith in the process. And it was the worst and the hardest and longest week of my life because the disaster cleanup people came for 4 days and slowly ripped my house apart. And I just had to watch them do it. Rip out my floors and my cabinets and cut into my walls. And I had to take everything down that I had just built up for the past 4 years. All my pictures, all of our furniture, all of our memories. It just all slowly was coming down. And it broke my heart. And I just had to keep choosing to move forward. And so I don't even know what the whole purpose of this episode is, but I just want to shed light and be vulnerable and honest about like how I acted and then like how I went forward. And literally, I just had to put one foot in front of the other. And, um, but yeah. And just know above all when life gets too heavy and you have to plan meals and you have to be in charge of everyone's schedules and everybody's life and routines and you're overwhelmed and you have to wear a million hats as a mom, just remember that if you need to put it down and you need to have a break, that's okay. And if it looks crazy and dramatic and blows up like I did, just know that you're still lovable. And trust that when you're putting the pieces back together, that if it doesn't look how you want it to look, or if it doesn't turn out the way you thought it should, just remember that, just remember, just remember not to give up on yourself, okay? Because my dream is to do this podcast and to make a community for moms and women and have unity in a life that can sometimes feel so scary and so broken. And I had everything planned out and my studio was all set up ready to go and I put all this money and time into this dream and then it literally got washed away. And it looks so different than what I wanted it to look like. And my laundry room has my camera in it and I am hoping this doesn't look crazy in my hallway, but I don't want to give up on myself. And even though I had this huge setback and I had this huge blow up and breakdown and had to completely flip my life around, I still want to believe in myself and I still want to do my dream. And so I hope that's what you took away from this talk today. Just don't give up on yourself, okay? So that's my mom talk for the week. I am so grateful that you're listening and I want to hear your story. So comment, write a review, leave me a message on Instagram, and I just want to build this community together. Thank you so much for listening to me chat, and I hope you got something out of this. And just know that I'm excited to talk next week even more. So, chat then. Bye.